What's going on? Welcome to TruthAddiction. This is the channel that deals with the disease of addiction and all the ways it manifests itself. I am a recovering addict, and my name is Brian. I suffer from a disease which is incurable, progressive, and unfortunately, sometimes it's fatal. It can, however, be arrested at some point, and recovery is then possible. So first things first, how's everybody doing out there? I hope all is well. I'm chilling, I guess. Weather's a little miserable. You know, I got hit with a couple storms last night, day before, and I'm looking out the window right now, and my in-ground pool is fucked up. So I guess I'm gonna have to clean that soon. That shit sucks. You know, I remember, man, I was poor as shit when I was a kid. I mean poor, bro. I used to stand in line with my mom to get free butter, free powdered milk and shit and all that. Food stamps, all that shit. Poor as fuck, man. Electricity getting shut off every few months, you know what I mean? And, I could always dream that, maybe someday I'll have an in-ground pool. And, I finally, got one, and, well, we got one that I could use. I don't actually own the pool. I rent this place, but, I gotta tell you, it's pain in the motherfucking ass, bro. Shit. Pain in the ass, bro. But hey, I ain't getting high. Anyway, I hope you're having a good day. And if you're clean today, so far today, it's a blessing, right? Because we all remember that struggle. We all remember what it was like trying to go get another one. It's a rough ass day. Boy, not getting no shower for a couple weeks, nasty as fuck, man. I don't miss that shit, bro. Just saying. I can relate if you're there. If you are still using, I suggest maybe you go into a little rehab or something. Put the drug down. Put the alcohol down. Shit, if you're inflicted with any other addiction, you gotta put it down first. You gotta stop the gambling. You gotta stop the eating. You gotta stop the buying the fucking bullshit you don't need. All that shit that's making you unmanageable. You gotta put it down first. We can't change unless we put it down, bro. Anyway, it's enough of that shit. Today is part 5 of the 12-part series I'm doing. Going along with the 12 steps of recovery program. Today's step 5, right? And like I said, my program, my 12-step program happens to be Narcotics Anonymous. And I will say it like I do before I start talking in every video. I'm not promoting Narcotics Anonymous. It's just the one I chose. There's a lot of great 12-step programs out there for whatever ails you. You got a shopping problem, they got something for you. You got a food problem, they got something for you. Shit, they got Nicotine Anonymous. They got Alcohol Anonymous. They got Sex and Love Anonymous. Yeah, for you freaky motherfuckers that can't seem to stop being unmanageable from some whacked-ass relationships you get into. And boy, I've been in some. I've been in many. Anyway, like I said, the steps in all these 12-step programs are the same except for step 1. It just changes the word out. So if you got an alcohol problem, the step 1's going to say, we admit it, we're powerless over alcohol, our lives become unmanageable. Gambling problem, it's going to say, we admit it, we're powerless over gambling, and our lives become unmanageable. In Narcotics Anonymous, we simply say, we admit it, we're powerless over our addiction, and our lives become unmanageable. Because, addictions can show their ugly ass head in many ways. So this is the one I chose. Anyway, like the video, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you can for me. Help me carry this message. We're at over 100,000 OD deaths a year. Dang. That's a lot of dead motherfuckers, bro. And you know what's crazy? None of those people had to die. Because recovery is possible. Just saying. All right, this is what we're going to do. If you've been watching, you know. I'm going to start reading the step. This is out of the Narcotics Anonymous basic text. This is step 5, like I said. I'm going to read. I'm going to pause reading, give you a little experience, my experience on what I just read. And if you could, write something in the comments if you can relate to something if you're going through this process. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we can help each other. Because after all, this is a help me, help you, help me, help you, help me type of thing. Right? All right, let's go. Step 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. The 5th step is the key to freedom. It allows us to live clean in the present. Sharing the exact nature of our wrongs sets us free to live. After taking a thorough 4th step, we deal with the contents of our inventory. So, the 4th step before this is we make a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, right? So, what we have done, if you've done it, you are now at step 5 and you did some writing. You did a fearless and searching moral inventory of yourself, and you have come to face with some bullshit, right? We dealt with shit like, guilt, shame, fear, relationships, sexual conduct, right? Things like abuse, what assets we got. Right? And I know that could be hard for a lot of people, especially addicts with the disease of addiction. It's hard to come up with something that you think is an asset. Because most of us, man, we come into this shit. When we first get clean, or even when we're still using, even when we're clean for a little bit, it's hard for us to see any good in this. Because we did a lot of foul shit. But there are assets. We do have them, right? And, just secrets in general, man. We pulled out some secrets in that 4th step, man. And that's where we're at. We're on step 5. So like it said, after taking a thorough 4th step, we deal with the contents of our inventory. We are told that if we keep these defects inside of us, they will lead us back to using. Holding on to our past would eventually sicken us and keep us from taking part in our new way of life. If we are not honest when we take a 5th step, we will have the same negative results that dishonesty brought us in the past. And what it's talking about right now is we can't be dishonest, right? When we're doing this 5th step. Because in other words, see, it's easy, right? There's 3 parts to this drawn here, right? One is you got to share it with yourself. As easy as that sounds, and it's probably the easiest, right, compared to the other 2. Well, actually, probably just compared to one of them. Because one of them is you have to, now, with everything you did in the 4th step, you have to go over and share with yourself and the God of your understanding, right? And although I ain't religious, I do take the God higher power thing serious. I do think it is very important for your recovery process, right? Now, some people are really into God. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be, but some are. And, sitting there and having that conversation with the God of your understanding can be very fucking powerful. Going over everything you wrote about everything I just mentioned. Fears, sexual conduct or misconduct, guilt, shame. But the one thing that bugs most people out, and it did me, was the fact that I had to read all that shit to another human being, which was my sponsor. That's suggested. That's why you need to get a sponsor in a 12-step program. Your sponsors who guide you through the steps, and it's usually who you go over your 4th step with. And I can tell you from doing these steps, it is a very freeing thing to relieve yourself of what it was just talking about, the past and all that shit, and your fears of the future, for that matter, right? But these 2 steps here, 4 and 5, this is where we have to do something very important. And that's get out of the past. The past is no good for an addict with the disease of addiction to live in. It just ain't. We have to find a way to stay in the present. Just stay in today. That's why when you hear a lot of 12-step programs, they talk about that just for today shit, because that's important. You have to stay in today. And if you think about it, today is really all we got anyway, right? Even when tonight, when it hits 12 midnight, it's today, right? It's always today if you think about it. But anyway, step 5 suggests that we admit to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We looked at our wrongs, examined our behavior, patterns, and started to see the deeper aspects of our disease. Now we sit with another person and share our inventory out loud. Man, let me tell you something. There was a couple things that I wrote in my 4-step, man, that when I was going over this shit with my sponsor that day, I wanted to retreat. You know, like, when you're out there living that life, man, that addicted drug life, you're out there shucking and jiving, conning people, manipulating, lying, you know, just living real fucking foul, man. And it's so hard to be honest. That's why when most of us, probably all of us, if you have the disease of addiction, you come into a 12-step program, one of the first things you gotta learn is how to be honest. And if you think about that, that's fucked up. Like, who has to learn how to be honest? It's like something you should just be normally and shit, right? But you gotta get honest, especially with yourself. And when it comes time to put this out there to another human being, like, yo, this is what I did. These are the things that I've done to people. Here's what some people did to me. Here goes this crazy sexual shit I used to do. Here goes this same shit I used to do, getting involved with crazy relationships. Whatever it is. Because, you know, man, some of that shit's embarrassing. Fuck. And furthermore, somebody like me, I didn't even have a dad like that. He was in and out of my life a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? And I'm going to tell you, man, I didn't trust any fucking body, man. I was basically raised on a corner in South Philly. My mom was whacked out, man. She was drugged the fuck out most of the time when I was coming up. And the corner became my home. On the corner of a block, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I was like gangster, but that's where I was on the corner drinking 40s, and they were the people that I felt I loved and loved me, man. You know what I mean? So, but you learn not to trust anybody in that life. Because it seemed like, because you're such a con man, that everybody's trying to con you. And somebody always wants something. You know what I mean? They want something in return for whatever it is. And that's how you look at that shit. That's how I looked at it anyway, man. Alright. Our higher power will be with us during our 5th step. We will receive help and be free to face ourselves and another human being. It seemed unnecessary to admit the exact nature of our wrongs to our higher power. I mean, after all, God already knows that stuff. We rationalized it. Although he already knows, the admission must come from our own lips to be truly effective. Step 5 is not simply a reading of step 4. For years, we avoided seeing ourselves as we really were. We were ashamed of ourselves and felt isolated from the rest of the world. Now that we have the shameful part of our past trapped, we can sweep it out of our lives if we face and admit it. Man, that's some crazy shit. The rest of the world. Now that we have the shameful part of our past trapped, right? We did some work. We went inside and searched. We isolated, we isolated the motherfucking issues. We got it trapped. Now let's do something with this motherfucker, right? Like it's a fucking demon and shit, cause like, kind of fucking is. You know what I mean? Almost like an exorcism and shit. Like, okay, we've located the demon. Here it is. We got it trapped. Now let's fucking excavate that motherfucker, right? And how you do that is you free yourself by admitting it to the God of your understanding, admitting it to yourself, and most of all, for me, admitting it to another human being, boy. Let me tell you something. The healing power, when you go through this fourth and fifth step, is crazy, man. It really is crazy shit, man. All right. Now that we have, okay, I already read that part. These defects grow in the dark and die in the light of exposure. Because that's basically what you're doing. You're bringing all this shit from this deep, dark place inside you, and you're bringing it out to the light to expose it, man. Right? Before coming to Narcotics Anonymous, we felt that no one could understand the things that we had done. We feared that if we ever revealed ourselves as we were, we would surely be rejected. Most addicts are uncomfortable about this. We recognize that we have been unrealistic in feeling this way. Our fellow members do understand us, and in there is where the healing is in a 12-step program. Let me tell you something, man. It's a relief when you're sharing some deep, dark shit with somebody, and then they come back at you with like, yo, let me tell you what I did. And now you're like, shit, you might be like, shit, that motherfucker's more fucked up than I am. Shit. I thought my shit was whack, bro. What the fuck? You know what I mean? But most of all, it's like, okay, people have acted as I did, man, in a shameful manner, man, an embarrassing manner. You know what I mean? And there's a healing power in relating to somebody like that. That's why this shit works, man. That's why there is no parallel when it comes to the most important weapon against the disease of addiction. It is another recovering addict. You know what I mean? Counselors and all that shit, therapists. Yo, look, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with them. These people can help you. But not to the degree that another person who suffers from the same disease you have, that has been there, done it, is now clean and is willing to show you the way. There's nothing parallel to that. It's that empathy shit. A wordless language of recognition, which we call empathy. That's what the book says, man. I ain't come up with that shit myself, but that's what the book says, right? We must carefully choose the person who is to hear our fifth step. We must make sure they know what we're doing and why we are doing it. Although there is no hard rule about the person of our choice, it is important that we trust that person. Only complete confidence in the person's integrity and discretion can make us willing to be thorough in this step. Some of us take our fifth step with a total stranger. Although some of us feel more comfortable choosing a member of Narcotics Anonymous. We know that another addict would be less likely to judge us with malice or misunderstanding. In other words, there's no hard rule, man. You can go over this shit with anybody that you trust. You gotta trust them, though. You about to tell them some shit. You know what I mean? You gotta have some trust in a person. And I chose my sponsor, which is a member of Narcotics Anonymous. You know what I mean? But I don't know about sharing. It says you could share it with a stranger. I don't know how legit that would be. I mean, you could do it. Don't get me wrong. You're still going to get some shit off your chest and tell another human being. I mean, there's still therapy in that. That's still got to be kind of therapeutic, man. But you're going through this process with your sponsor. And remember, this is only your fifth step. You still got like 7 more to go. So you kind of want your sponsor to know where you're at and who you are, who you're trying to be. You know what I mean? So for me, I would probably go with a sponsor. You know what I mean? Once we make a choice and are actually alone with that person, we proceed with their encouragement. We want to be definite, honest, and thorough, realizing that this is a life and death matter. Bro, it's hard to look at it like that when you're doing it. It's hard to look at it like that. Because by the time you get to this step, you probably clean for a little bit, right? Maybe your obsession to use is probably gone. Probably not thought about getting high in a while. Life's pretty good. Things are coming back. You know what I mean? You're starting to take more showers. Hopefully by step 5, you're taking more showers. You know what I'm saying? And just things like that, man. Your spirit for life is starting to come back, right? And it gets hard to hold on to that desperation that you have when you first come in. See, when you first come in, a lot of us come in with a lot of wreckage. Shit done hit the fan. And in that moment, it does feel like life or death. Like, yo, if I don't change, bro, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. And if I don't die in the sense of 6 feet under, I'm going to die in the sense of like just roaming the earth with nothing going on. Just being a leech, a sponge, and just walking around wasting fucking air that somebody else could breathe, bro. Because I've been in that place. Just looking for the courage to end myself, if you know what I'm saying. Right? But it's hard, and when you're at this point, to be looking at this shit that you're doing as life or death. But make no mistake about it, it is. It's life or death. Because if we don't change, bro, if we don't change from within, we will get fucked up again. Remember, this shit ain't going nowhere because it lives in the brain. They call it a substance abuse disorder. They got all kinds of names for it. It's fucked up and it lives in your brain, bro. Anyway, some of us tried to hide part of our past in an attempt to find an easier way of dealing with our inner feelings. We may think that we have done enough by writing about our past. We cannot afford this mistake. This step will expose our motives and our actions. We cannot expect these things to reveal themselves. Our embarrassment is eventually overcome, and we can avoid future guilt. See, that's what this shit is about. This is a process, man. To process. The work we're doing today is to avoid future guilt, shame, pain, pain that we put ourselves in. Listen, the world's a fucked up place, man. You can go around being a great person, doing the next right thing all the time, and life can still just kick you in the fucking nuts, bro. It can. You know what I mean? But for the most part, if you really think about it, most of the emotional pain that we have found ourselves in are certain situations. We put ourselves in that motherfucker, dude. We put ourselves there, bro. So, this is the process to avoid future shit. To learn about the exact nature of this disease. Shit. It's crazy, man. We do not procrastinate. We must be exact. We want to tell the simple truth, cut and dry, as quickly as possible. There is always a danger that we will exaggerate our wrongs. It is equally dangerous to minimize or rationalize our part in past situations. After all, we still want to sound good. That's what the motherfucker says. We still want to sound good. They got a line in this textbook somewhere, and it says, we cannot save our ass and our face at the same time. Think about that. You know what I'm saying? Addicts tend to live secret lives. For many years, we covered low self-esteem by hiding behind phony images that we hope would fool people. Unfortunately, we fooled ourselves more than anyone. Although we often appeared attractive and confident on the outside, we were really hiding and shaky. Insecure person on the inside. Ain't that the fucking truth, bro? Man, I got clean and realized I was a scared little boy in a man's body. And I ain't no shit. I ain't no shit. Just didn't. The masks have to go. We share our inventory as it is written, skipping nothing. We continue to approach this step with honesty and thoroughness until we finish. It is a great relief to get rid of all our secrets and to share the burden of our past. You know, I just want to touch on the mask thing right there, bro. Let me tell you something, man. I walked around most of my life, bro, with a bunch of different masks in my pocket. Whoever I came up on, what you need me to be? I had a mask for you, and I throw it on, right? If I walk up to some intelligent people, I throw on the intelligent mask, talking all kinds of big words. Oh, today is a very top drawer type of day. It's exquisite outside. You know what I'm saying? If I pulled up on some hood people, yo, what's going on? Yo, what's good, man? Yeah, man, I'm about to go down there now. Hey, yo, you see Ronnie, man? Yeah, that motherfucker owes me like $10. About to get in his ass. Whatever. Females you approach. What kind of dude you want? I got a mask for you too, girl. Fuck we doing? This shit, we about to change here, bro. We talking about change. Let's get down to dirty, right? Usually, as we share this step, the listener will share some of his or her story too. We find that we are not unique. We see by the acceptance of our confidence that we can be accepted just the way we are. I think I fucked that up. We see by the acceptance of our confidant, I guess it meant. You know what I'm saying? Like the person we trust, whatever. That can be accepted just the way we are. We may never be able to remember all of our past mistakes. We do, however, give it our best and most complete effort. We begin to experience real personal feelings of a spiritual nature. Where once we had spiritual theories, we now begin to awaken the spiritual reality. God damn, this book be talking that crazy deep shit. I always say it, bro. My predecessors who wrote this fucking book like 80, 100 years ago, these motherfuckers was no joke, bro. Listen to that shit, man. Where once we had a spiritual theory, we now begin to awaken to spiritual reality. Dang. This initial examination of ourselves usually reveals some behavior patterns that we don't particularly like. You ain't bullshit. You ain't bullshitting. However, facing these patterns and bringing them out in the open makes it possible for us to deal with them constructively. We cannot make these changes alone. Let me say that again. If you are an addict with the disease of addiction, you cannot make these changes alone. Your kids will not help you change. Your fucking God alone will not help you change. Your mom, your dad, your dying grandmom on her deathbed will not get you to change. You need a recovering addict. I'm just saying. We will need the help of God, for sure, as we understand Him. For all my atheists out there like myself, I know you get bugged out with that God word, but I've learned to accept it. Just chill the fuck out. Just read it as we will need the help of God, meaning good, orderly direction from other recovering addicts, including our sponsor. How about that? But to my religious folk out there, hell yeah, God's important. You better believe it. Whoever he is, whoever she is, he is. God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, whatever it is, bro, you better get that motherfucker to help you. better. Oh, okay, wait, hold on. We done here? All right, we done. That was the last line. Let me read it again. We will need the help of God as we understand Him and the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And then from that, we move on to step 6. And that'll do it for that. So dig this. When I did a 5th step, I just want to say this real quick. When I did a 5th step, after I did a 5th step, I got to tell you, man, I remember I went over with my sponsor. We were on a deck. We were like 2 stories up on a deck, right? It was nice, like a day turning into night. And as I'm reading that 4-step to him, and we're talking about the things that I wrote down, what I did, all this, he's telling me about stuff he did. I'm telling you, man, every word that came out, I just kept feeling freer and freer. And by the time I got done that shit, man, he left. I was sitting there on that deck smoking a cigarette, boy. I felt so goddamn free, bro. Let freedom ring, baby. Trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you watched it all the way through, I really appreciate you. Like I said, I need help carrying this message, man. For real. We need to carry, listen, no addict need ever die seeking recovery. You feel what I'm saying? 100,000 people dead, bro. We can't have that, man. There's too many fucking people. This shit was like 50,000, like 15 years ago. This shit doubled. What the fuck is gonna be 15 years from now? 200,000? That's crazy, man. That's a lot of people's friends and loved ones dead. Kids, babies who lost their parents, ain't even get to see them. You know, when you under the age of 3, 4, 5, you don't remember that shit unless you just looking at your parent on through some pictures or a video. That's crazy. Drugs will take all your shit. All that is good, your addiction will take, and it'll strip it from you and have you assed out. And you know what? That don't just include drugs. Matter of fact, let me end the video with how I always end it, by saying this. Just remember this. The disease of addiction, it's broad and outside of the realm of just using drugs. Keep coming back. More will be revealed. I'm out of here, man.